Hey folks, Moby here. I'm going to bring you a bit of a preview here. This is World of Warships. I am playing on the Xbox One. Picked it up a few days ago. I know Knack has had this for a bit. I know Rejects got it because he was picking it up hours after I picked it up. So here, real quick, this is a bit of a crash course. I know we haven't seen this before, and I can go into more detail later on. This is an Isukaze. I believe that's how you say it, and I could very well be wrong. It's a Japanese Tier 3 destroyer. There's Tiers 1 through 7. The little green symbol you see on the top right corner there, that is a torpedo hit. What you're looking for, the blue symbol, the blue ribbon, is flooding. The red symbol, and I don't know if you can see it really closely, is a ship sinking. So the red ribbons are your kills. I'm the last guy left. There's 3 here. I had 2 kills previous. So destroyers are quick, agile, torpedo launching suckers. You're not going to rely on them for the guns. So obviously that is a bigger boat. He's got more armor, but not as fast. It's probably pretty self-explanatory that you guys can see this. The little red things flying by me are their torpedoes. I am throwing out smoke, those little white circles that you see on the water. There's different views for the guns. I am shooting HE. You can see in the lower right hand corner it says high explosive. I'm just whittling them down. I can't wait for the torpedoes to reload to kill them. So really quick here, I got a couple seconds. So in the lower right hand corner you can see the torpedoes. There's wide spread, there's narrow spread. You can see my speed, you can see what's kind of reloading. If you look at the bottom, I'm not going to explain everything, but this will get you a feel for what it looks like.
Torpedoes to port.
So you'll hear the guy call out torpedoes. There's a lot of verbal cues going on here. There's quite a bit of action, and when you're this mobile, trying to keep things organized is pretty tricky. I made a mistake here. I shouldn't have shot torpedoes at him and wasted the time. I could have burned him down with my guns. It wasn't a big deal. Those torpedoes nearly hit me in the can over there. Somehow I got lucky. The flag that you see, the blue center with the red diamond around it, that's our flag. They're taking it. If they capture that flag, we lose. So I got to get back to the flag, and that's where I'm headed towards. When you see the flags, it's kind of capture the flag, just like in tanks or even in Battlefield or something like that. I find this has been a ton of fun. I've really enjoyed it. I have 1 Tier 5, 3 or 4 Tier 4s. I'm mostly pushing the Japanese and the American line.
Torpedoes to starboard.
The faded wedge with the dotted line is the enemy's predicted path, and the solid white wedge is my torpedo path. So here you can see my torpedoes I'm shooting. I have three launchers with 2 tubes each.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
So the green ribbons are me resetting our flag. You get so many credits for that. You can tell on the top right the diamond is now blue, so it's pretty much all ours. You can tell my torpedoes aren't reloaded here, so I'm just switching back to the guns. I got to keep working this now for a bit. I broke his propeller. I don't know if that's the same as engine damage, but his propeller's out, means he's not going to have any propulsion, so you can't lead him as much here. It tells you when you look close at his tank, it shows you how many kilometers away he is, so you get a good idea. Torpedoes are loaded. I shouldn't have bothered wasting my time, but I figured, what the hell. And you'll see how quickly this match ends. Killed him. Match is over. There is no scene. Here you can see sort of the tech tree. I kind of blast through it pretty quick here. But I wanted just to show you the ship up close. This is the Isakazi. Again, I don't know if I'm saying this incorrectly or not, so I apologize. The lower right-hand screen, you see the white bar is my progress to the tier 4. The little aqua green, whatever boxes down there below the white bar are upgrades. So the ship's fully upgraded. I'm just not completely done with the line yet. But here is the rendering up close of the boat, and it's super cool. So you can see these torpedo launchers right in the middle there. I think this is pretty neat. It's pretty well rendered. In game, it's just as good. It's been a blast to play. It's certainly been a change of pace. There's a lot to learn here, and a lot to get good at. Not playing tanks quite as much. Been playing this a little bit, but mostly Knack and Reject have it. Impact may get it. I pinged him to get it. Some of the guys may get it. I don't know who's going to take to this or not. The funny thing is, Tug, we got Sea of Thieves, and now we've got this game out. 2 maps, 2 games on the water, and Tug's the one guy I wanted to try to get on there, and I don't think we've gotten him on the water yet. So anyway, that's a bit of a preview for World of Warships. I think it's super neat. It's free. Content's going to be coming. I believe they will expand the nations. There is no German nation, and obviously these are World War II ships, and there's a ton of German boats that need to be represented here. I believe PC might have Italian. They have Chinese, I believe, and French, I believe. So I think clearly Wargaming will release more content with that. And I look forward to that. And they'll probably be expanding the lines to Tier 10, which we have in tanks and which PC has. Tanks, meaning World of Tanks, this game right here that you're looking at, and what Warships has on PC. So, I know that's a bit of a delay. We're halfway into this game. This is Reject and myself. We're both in Tier 8. We're Tier 8 tanks in a Tier 10 match. Obviously, there's some Tier 9 scattered in here. We're both got light tanks. Perfect map for a light tank, and I'm not happy. We're a couple minutes in, and I've already gotten shot. I'm down to 60% of my health. The name of the game is stay alive and spot for your team. It's just as simple as that. And when you're Tier 8, don't look at it as you got to do the killing. I know my last video was the Hawk 12, the HWK 12, another light tank, but I think the light tank maps are pretty exciting. You get to see a lot. There's a lot of movement, a lot of activity. Heavy tanks can be a little boring, I guess, for some. I enjoy it, don't get me wrong. If I had recorded, I should have pulled off some of the recordings of some of my, 6, 7, 8 kill matches, but that was before I really got back into recording. So, Reject and I are talking. We're just trying to keep alive here. Choosing the people to take out. If we're gonna say we're going after this guy, this is Reject and myself right here. Number 1 rule, stay alive. Number 2 rule, don't crash into each other. So he's dead. Obviously we had a little bit of help, but I think initiating that when you swarm on a guy and he can't shoot anybody in particular and his turret's flailing around and all that stuff, that's what you want. That's what light tanks are meant to do. And he obviously pushed it too far. I had this round for a long time, and I remember this, and I went back and looked at my videos, and I just don't see that I published it. So if I published this one before, I apologize. But Reject and I were talking about this, and I said, look, man, I apologize. You and I were in this match, and he had a great round. Mine was decent. I think we only ran into each other once here, so good for us. It gets a little tough with 2 light tanks. You've got the same idea and you're doing the same job. Even on a big map like this, yes, you can wind up running into each other. And Wargaming puts these damn dead tanks in the middle of the battlefield, so the tanks that you see sitting there dead that don't move are part of the landscape. I don't know what the thought process is behind that, but maybe it trips up the light tanks, makes their job more difficult, which I can understand. But we do run into each other once, I believe, here. So, let me know if you guys like the World of Warships. The rounds go fairly quickly, usually over in 10 minutes or so, I find. But I'd like to. I'm probably going to start grabbing some footage like that. Still doing a little bit of tanks. I think you can get decent games in 10 or 15 minutes. So I wanted to squeeze a little preview of warships in at the beginning of this, and it shouldn't make the video too long. I did stick a little bonus clip here at the end, and I'm still sitting on one more video that's almost ready to go, and I will pump that out early next week. I've been busy with some other things. So I knew there was news of tanks making some serious changes to artillery on PC. And I'll hold that thought for a second. Here you can see Reject and I made the call. We were talking. We said, all right, we're going to go over and take out this light tank. It was kind of time. I was going to wait a little bit. He said, let's go. And I said, that's fine. As long as we're in agreement, we're doing the same thing. That's terrific. When you do this, you scatter the RD. They run like cockroaches. If you can't take them out now, I suppose that's all right. But you still want to stay alive. And I did make a little bit of a mistake. And I should have kept moving a little bit better. And I didn't. So that was certainly my fault. It happens, so here's Reject. Making friends over here with a heavy tank that cannot keep up with his tank. What he's doing isn't the most ideal. You don't want to go. Ideally, you don't want to go back and forward and backwards. He's not. He's turning the tank at some points. He's turning the tank to try to help the gun, which is great. That will try to get his gun to catch up to Reject. Reject crossed in front of his gun because he's turned it from going clockwise to counterclockwise, and he got lucky, didn't get shot, which is terrific. But you want to keep this up and just keep him spinning and do the circle of death on him. At some points he's almost catching up, so it's a little scary, but the guy's doing a pretty decent job. Job of trying to stay alive. He needs a friend, and he's got no freaking friends. And Reject certainly could use a friend, but that would have been me. But his friend was an idiot and got himself killed. But he can do this job on his own. Obviously, if that enemy tank could get his hands on Reject, he's in deep shit because he's only in a light tank, and he could really cripple him if he could land a shot. But they already tried to help. He swung a shot that way, didn't hit. It was just sort of dumb luck. The guy really needed a medium there to help him out. That tank destroyer wasn't doing anything good, but it is what it is. So, that being said, artillery on PC, Wargaming laid out some plans to make some changes, and it looks like those changes are going to go into effect. So, artillery on PC has stun, and what people were complaining about a lot is the stun just keeps lasting forever and ever. You stun a crew, they can't move, they're sort of immobilized. If you can lay another round on them pretty soon, they'll be stunned again. You're not destroying the tank, but the radius of damage from where the shell lands does damage. Then it has a stunning effect, and you can keep compounding that and keep adding to the stun. Whereas now what the plan is to minimize the stun and say, it's a very complicated mathematical formula they had for it, but it makes sense. So it's kind of diminished stun values. So if you're an RD and you hit one, let's say player A, ideally to get the maximum out of your stun is hit a new player, hit player B, stun him fully, let players A stun come off completely, and maybe he relocates, maybe he doesn't, and then find him again and hit him again and then re-stun him, and then you get 100% of your stun. But because you get diminished returns on stunning the same player again and again, and that to me, that seems reasonable. I don't play PC tanks anymore. But picking on the same guy over and over and making his life miserable, yes, as an arty, that can be fun, but not too many people play artillery, so most people would be very upset by that. So, Redict is zooming around here on the map. We'll get back to the map for a second. He's got this tank destroyer sort of in the middle. I don't know if that's where I'd be going, but you know, at this point, I was telling Reject I really wish I was alive. I was in his tank view, kind of driving with him, and we didn't know where these guys were. This is all obviously replay afterwards. I just don't feel like that was the best place for that tank destroyer, but you know, it is what it is. He does get a kill out of it. That's great. He's sort of in the open now. He's at the mercy of this heavy spotting, and then the artillery is just drilling him. So I guess 1 for 1 is okay. But Reject got his hands full here. You know, he's got to burn down a heavy. The artillery's not so bad. That was fantastic to have our artillery crush that dude, but he's helping out the best he can. And apparently it's a French arty. I don't remember offhand because he's firing multiple shots quickly. Well, yes it is. So it's the French 10, which I have. He's got 4 shots. It's over a minute to reload. I think it's about 4 to 6 seconds between rounds to reacquire and kind of re-aim in. So the guy did a good job. I give him credit, but you can't always rely on artillery like that to be that good. So PC artillery are getting revamped a little bit. My question is, well, one thing is, Reject and I were talking that he passed super close to that artillery and didn't spot him, even proximity, which was weird. But the question is, will these artillery changes come to console? I like artillery. I've always got an artillery going, so I have the German RD-10, I have the French 10, I have a 9 British. Once I get that, I will probably go up the Soviet line, and I will cross over at the tier 6 at the KV-2 because that's a shortcut to get into the RD line. It doesn't sound very fun because Reject's got it, and sounds like it's going to be a bit of a struggle. But I'll bring in some RD gameplay. But speaking of artillery gameplay, there's a little bonus clip here at the end. Hopefully you guys enjoy. So here's the round at the end. I finished 4th. Reject obviously finished 1st. He stayed alive. He got a ton of kills there. I mean, he had a ton of damage. Did an excellent job. Obviously, artillery did really, really well as well. That was super nice. But my job was just stay alive and be constructive. But, you know, you see two tier 8s in the top 4 position, which is excellent. But again, it was an ideal map. But kudos to Reject for kicking ass there. Anyway, here's your bonus clip. And remember, keep your stick on the ice.